Ladies, I'm so excited to get started on this project, but I did need to make a little clarification because a few people had asked if this is are we making a junk journal? We are not making a junk journal. A lot of, there's so many different terminologies and they kind of transcend or transpose into different things. The terminology is so interchangeable. So just for clarification, a lot of people get a book and they gut the book and then they make their signatures for a junk journal and then they put the signatures into the book and they call it an altered, some call it an altered book. I call it an altered cover because you don't have any book left. You're making your own junk journal and you're just using the cover for your junk journal. To me, an altered book is when the pages are still in the book and you use it in one form or another. Now, I know there are some that make junk journals with the pages in there. They'll, tear one out or tear several pages out. Then they keep several and they tear several and they glue those. And then they come back and they make a junk journal out of it. We're not doing that either. We are making an art journal, all right? So we're going to be using a book. We're going to alter it from its original purpose. Yes, we're going to remove pages, but we're not going to replace them with ephemera and other kinds of scrapbook or anything like that. We're not making a junk journal. We're making an art journal. Just to clarify a couple of questions that I had. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is figure out how we're going to pick a book. I kind of gave some suggestions in the first video, but I need to clarify that also. There are books that are sewn, and you can see the signatures. And then there are books that are not sewn. They're basically glued. You can look and look and look and you'll never find where the signature is. And even though some people will say, oh, well, if it has this right here, then it's sewn. That isn't necessarily so, because even though they do have a separate, can't think of the word. Anyway, I guess it's a binding, right? You'll clarify it for me. Even though it's separate and not glued to the actual cover of the book, that does not necessarily mean, like for instance, you will never find the middle of a signature anywhere in this book, no matter how you try. And a best way to find out is if you tear out a page, there's not going to be any like little pools or indentations at all where you've pulled away from the actual sewing, whatever is used. And then if you go here and you kind of pull away and you go, oh, there's a signature. Well, no, that's just a group of gluing. They call that a signature, but it's still just glued, all right? So the reason why I suggest that we use one that is sewn, especially if this is the first time that you're doing this, I would hate for all the work and time and effort you put into it, and then these pages just start falling out from the mediums we're going to use in it, or just the movement, or even if it survives you completing it, then when you start looking through your pages and enjoying your book, they just start falling out. So I strongly suggest, especially if this is your first time, if you've done this before and you don't mind all the drama of things falling out, you can use whatever you want. But if it's your first time, I strongly suggest you do not use something that's glued. Okay, so the next question might be, well, how can I be sure? Well, that particular one, if you just kind of tug and pull, again, if you don't find any, like for instance, let me find a different book here. This book, well, see, I opened it right there. It's so obvious. You can see the threads right there. It's just real obvious. Oh, Shannon's Way. I have 2 of them. I gave her one. I had to keep one. But see, when you go to try to tear this, you know, you see all these little, you see it tugging right there. So you know there's something holding it as opposed to just being a straight edge. But in this one, it's so obvious because you can just see the threads. Another way you can check is if you go like this and you try and find, you just keep turning pages until you go like that and you go, oh, there's a center, and you go like that. You open it up, probably doesn't show up, but there's the thread. Okay, so just kind of tug at your pages, see if you can find the middle, and that'll be one way, the best way for you to find it. Now see, this goes like this and it just doesn't rip out because it's sewn. That other one, when we found it, it just ripped out because it was just glued. See, that is sewn, and you can see because there's no glue here. There's no glue here, and then you can see where it's sewn right there. All right? Okay, so that's the first thing. Try and find as best as possible one that is sewn. All right, now, having said that, now we're going to be doing work in the book, so it's going to get kind of chunky. So yes, we do need to remove some of these pages. So let's find the center of one of these. It doesn't matter where right now. Is that the center? I think it is. So if you have your book, get it out, pause right now, go find your book. If you haven't selected a book, well then go ahead and watch what we're doing and you'll see what needs to be done. Alright, so we find our center, and what we should do, what I do, and I suggest, is I would go over 3 pages and then I rip out 2 or 3 pages. It's up to you. Let's do 3. I feel adventurous. Now, go over 3 pages this way because you've torn these pages out. So now there's nothing holding these in because that's already out. So they're going to come out quite easy. See how... And it may not be perfectly clean, but at least you are getting, you're going to be removing the one that was already removed on the other side. We took out 3, so let's take out the other 3 sides. There you go. And you can always come back later, either with your hand or if you want to get a tweezer or something, and you can pull those out. I don't. I used to be, you know, pickety and do all that. I don't even do this anymore. It gets all covered up with the art that we do to it. So, you know, it's up to you. It's up to you. It makes you feel better to get those out of there. More power to you. And get them out. On this side and the other side. Okay. So what I would do that with each signature throughout the whole book. Open up to the center of the signature. Whoops, that's not the center. Is that where I did that? No. Okay. Center. Okay. 1, 2, 3, tear out 2 or 3 pages. Do it on both sides, all right? Do that on all of your signatures. All right, I've done that on this one here. And so you can see where those have all been taken out. So that's the first thing you're going to do in prepping your book. Okay. Now, don't glue anything together. We will do them as we do the project, because for some of the projects you may want, we may need to maybe double or triple up on some pages, but for now, don't do it, because each project will need a different amount of pages glued to one another. So just keep that the way it is. Get all those out. So you have to get those out. Oh, that was something else. I had some pictures I needed to get out of here. But clean this up if you want and have that all ready to go. All right. And the first, alrighty. Oh yeah, because I had elephants. I had to tear out the little elephants, because those of you that know me know I love my elephants. Alright, now these pages that you're taking out, go ahead and save them, because you can use them for other projects, and even maybe some of the projects that we'll be doing in here, and use them for some collage. Alright. So once you get that done, then I'll show you the next project that we're going to do.